Good morning, everyone. Writers and Writers, the art of narrating the self and personal essay is brought to you by Big Company, Maya Film Production, Eight Letters, and the Purple Sage Project. And with that, the Independent Collective would like to promote the following opportunities. First, we have an internship program and we're looking for the following: video editor, graphic designer, TikTok talent, and community manager. All roles entail 5 to 8 hours of work per week with benefits to be discussed in the interview. Please send your resume to our email info@indie-co.com. The Independent Collective is also open for more partnerships and collaborations. Our team can create press releases for you, feature you on our website and social media sites, advertise your business on our podcast, which reaches over 50,000 people globally, collaborate during our monthly events, host giveaways, and so much more. If you're interested in collaborating with us, feel free to apply. If you've got other ideas in mind, send us a proposal that you think will benefit both parties and we'll email you if we're interested. And last but not least, we also are now accepting enrollees for batch 2 of our workshop, The Art of Narrating the Self in the Personal Essay. This exclusive and educational workshop is a 1 month long program that examines the personal essay as a genre and a craft and how the two inform one another. This course will analyze varied approaches to storytelling from the past and present as a way of guiding students to write personal essays of their own, which can be used as the basis for a college application. By studying the techniques of classic essayists such as James Baldwin, Joan Didion, and Edward Hoagland, students will learn to practice and hone their skills in critical self reflection, analysis, and narration. Topics to be covered include reliable narration, point of view, voice, structure, and style. We will also pay close attention to the mechanics of lucid prose, including word choice, syntax, punctuation, and grammar. During workshops, students will have the opportunity to share and discuss their own work. At the end of this program, students may also receive the following: a certificate of completion, awards, a feature on the page, an awarding ceremony that will be live streamed on our YouTube channel, The Independent Collective, and a chance to receive many writing and work opportunities from the Independent Collective. The program is taught by experienced teachers and writers that had their work featured in notable publications such as Chicken Soup for the Soul and Philippine Daily Inquirer. These instructors have a combined teaching experience of 12 years, have attended many competitive writing programs, have won awards, and have contributed a total of 1,300 published articles and essays. An instructor has written an entire ebook, and two instructors have contributed to different anthologies that were distributed globally. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now! And with that being said, let's move on to the program proper.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, and good morning and a happy Saturday. I am Leah Shoko, one of the co-founders of the Independent Collective, and I will be your moderator and host for today's live event. Welcome to Writers on Writers, the art of narrating the self in the personal essay. Before we proceed to the roundtable discussion, I'd like to thank you guys for taking the day off to join us. We hope you're excited for all the topics we've got planned for you. We're also thankful to our partners, sponsors, and guest speakers who've taken the time to attend this year's event and lend their insights about taking the risk to pursue their passion and love for writing. Once again, I am Leah, and I'm definitely excited to introduce to you all our amazing guest speakers. And this is where we all do a virtual round of applause for the three speakers. And first up, we have Philippe Angelo Hinosa. Philippe Angelo Hinosa is a 22-year-old sociology student at the University of the Philippines, Visayas. He writes about family, education, politics, and society based on his personal life. So, hi, Philippe. Would you want to say hi to our audience live now?
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you for coming also. And next up, we have Jarod Angelo Lustre. Jarod Angelo Lustre is a writer and artist who was raised by his grandmothers in Sampaloc, Manila. Exposed to his family's struggles at an early age, he was influenced to use his talents to speak out against the common injustices that Filipinos face. He believes that art as an expression of passion and strife, can inspire people to stand up for themselves and others. So give it up for Jarod. Everyone, welcome, Jarod. You want to say hi?
Hi everyone, happy to be here.
Yes, and I don't know if what time is it right now because I know you're from a different time zone. So
Same time, just at night.
got it. Thank you so much for staying up late for this, or is this late for you? I don't know.
It's fine.
But
It's fine.
awesome. Next up is our last but definitely not the least, Mong Palatino. Mong Palatino is a Filipino blogger, activist, environmentalist, and former legislator. He is the Philippines' first elected youth representative from 2009 to 2013. His book, Blogging the City, Spaces of Dissent, was published in 2021. So without further ado, let us get on with the discussion with our guests panelists, Mong, Philippe, and Jarod. So, hi again, guys. I hope
I
you're all as excited as
Hi.
I am. I know it's been almost a month since we last talked for your episodes, and I still can't believe that we get to gather here today. And I just thought that it would be a fun way to start this conversation with like a little icebreaker. And I know that if you interviewed with me, you've done this before, probably except for Mong, right? And Jarod, I only did this game with Philippe. So Philippe, don't use the same truths and lie that you used before. But yeah, to start, let's probably play a game called Two Truths and a Lie. And to start, each of us has to give three statements to the rest of the group. So the trick is all of the statements won't be true. Two of the statements should be true, and the other statement should be a lie. So once everyone has made their guesses, you have to reveal which statement was your lie. So let's keep the game going this order. Let's go first with Philippe, followed by Mong, Jarod, and then I'll go last.
Okay, so here are my three statements. So first, I was once disqualified from a writing contest. Second, I come from a family of writers. And third, my greatest inspiration in writing is my paternal grandfather, who was also a farmer.
Okay.
Will we guess now?
Yeah, I guess you can. So I just want to be sure that I got it right. So the first one is you got disqualified. The second one is that your grandfather is your inspiration. And
And
third,
the third one, I come from a family of writers.
writers, got it. Okay. I feel like the first one is the most impossible, knowing like the two premises. I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I
Jared and Mel?
also agree with you, Leia. That's my guess. The first one.
I also think it's the first one.
Yeah, there's just no way that you'd be disqualified, Philippe. Have you read his work? this guy's this guy's a genius, a literary genius.
So the first statement, I was disqualified from a writing contest is a truth. So in 2012, I joined a national writing contest, and because I did not follow simple instructions, I was immediately disqualified from the competition. So yeah.
wait, what was the instruction that you missed to follow? I'm just really interested.
So we were told not to write yet, but because I was so nervous at that time, since I came from before the national event, I was already champion in the division and the regional. So I was so nervous. I wanted to be champion again in the nationals, and the nerves really got into me. So I wasn't able to listen to the instructions, and so I started writing. And then the proctor told me not to write yet, and then I was disqualified immediately from the competition.
Oh, good for them. You would have won champion anyway. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you so much for sharing that, Philippe. That's very interesting. You
Pero
must
Philip,
have been excited.
ano yung lie? Ano yung hindi
Yung
totoo?
lie is, I come from a family of writers. So the only writer in the family was my lolo. And he wasn't really an established writer because he was also a farmer. Um, Siya talaga yung siya yung naging inspiration ko throughout my writing journey in elementary. And when I won champion in the regionals, yun din yung time na namatay siya. So he wasn't able to, to know the result. But I'm happy and I'm proud that I have him as my inspiration. And up until now, I continue to write in his honor.
Got it. Thank you for sharing, Philippe. That's very interesting. That knowing about your grandfather and how he was able to write while also being a farmer. So let's talk more about that later. But for now, let's get on to Mong.
Okay, thank you, Leia. So my three statements. One, I am left-handed. Second, I met Bernie Sanders in the US. And third, I love scuba diving.
I want to make two to be a lie because I'm just jealous now. I'm just kidding. Okay. What's the most probable and what's not?
I think two is it's a bit difficult.
I think it's the third one, scuba diving.
Does Mong strike you as a non-adventurous guy, not to scuba dive?
Okay. So Leia, ikaw, ano ang ano?
Ako feeling ko yung wait. Okay, sige. I'll go with the first one just because statistically speaking, it's very low probability that people would, there's fewer left-handed people than right-handed people. Scuba diving, it's really more of personal interest. And I know little about you, so ayun, first one I think is the lie. And most writers I know are right-handed, so first one is the lie for me.
Okay, so iba-iba sagot nyo. Okay, so una, I am left-handed.
Oh.
Leftist nga ako, di ba? Tapos I met Bernie Sanders in the US when we were lobbying for a Filipino campaign issue, a bill in the US Congress and Senate. And no, I don't like scuba diving. I don't know how to scuba dive.
Oh, Philippe got this round. Way to go, Philippe. And yeah, I'm just interested by meet. Does that mean that you talk to him or you just like see him from afar?
Well, it's difficult to have a schedule with the senator and the members of Congress. So, nakausap namin yung staff niya. Pero, alam mo naman mga Pilipino, nakasalubong namin sa may hallway, edi naglakas loob na. Kinausap na at nagpa-picture na.
Wow,
Yun.
got it. Gusto ko makita yung
Ambush
picture.
interview. Send ko sa'yo yung link, nasa Facebook ko mamaya.
Thank you. Thank you for being G. Wow, what a dream. Yeah, and last we have Jarod.
Okay, so my three statements. Number one, I love cooking. Okay. Number two, I once won an essay writing competition in Chinese. Number three, I was in the debate club in high school. Made sure that's a bit difficult.
I think
Ako yung debate club.
same with me, the debate club.
Okay. I think I may have an edge here since we had a pretty deep talk ni Jarod before. So I know that the debate is not the lie. And the lie I think would be, oh frick, Chinese essay. Because I've been in a Chinese school and I always know that it's so hard to win the Chinese essay writing contest if you're not like purebred Chinese. So I'm gonna go with that. And I feel like you're a lovely cook, so I'm just gonna go with B.
Okay, so actually I do love cooking. And I did win an essay writing competition in Chinese, which is a funny story. And yes, the lie is both Mong and Philippe are right. I was
Oh my
not
gosh.
debate club in high school.
I feel so scammed. I don't know where I got the
I'm
memory
so
that you said
sorry,
that you were in
Leah.
debate. I must have mixed you with someone else. Ayun,
Okay.
grabe. Okay, I love how all your lies and I mean all your statements, your lie and your truths include some form of writing. So I'm gonna include also in mine. So my three statements are okay. So the first essay writing contest that I won, I was 9 years old and it was in Filipino, not English. Second, I was first published in 2017 at at the Philippine Daily Inquirer. And lastly, I super love anything written by Joan Didion. So what's the lie?
Tingin ko number 1.
I think number 2, maybe it's not
Ako,
2017.
ako number 2. Kasi nag-effort pa siya para magbigay ng detalye.
Yeah, you're right. Jared, sorry, you're wrong. Yeah, I was about 9 when I won the Filipino editing contest. And ayun, I was shocked pa kasi feeling ko talaga pangit ko mag-Filipino and you can hear it in my accent. 2017 is not the year I was published. April 2018. And I remember the books and legit just all stars of confidence and a sea full of accomplished writers. So yeah, thank you for playing. So you guys, can you guys hear me?
You were break choppy.
Oh no. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so I guess we can just head straight on for the next 30 to 35 minutes or so with the proper question proper. But you guys feel free to also ask side questions because this is really a conversation and less of an interview. And yeah, I want to start with the idea of your writing style because I've read all your works and there's a specific voice that each guys have. So I want to know what makes your writing voice and writing style yours. So what's unique about it compared to like other pieces you've read?
Go
Okay,
first. Philippe, maybe?
go Philippe.
Okay, so writing styles. I usually write about personal experiences that deal with universal issues that are experienced by many individuals around me. So I write about my experiences at home, being the son of a Marcos apologist, a survivor of domestic abuse, or a family enslaved by stringent religious dogmas. But I don't think I have a distinct style yet because I only started writing again in August of last year. But for the purpose of discussion, my writing style could be confessional, and I think this comes from years of reading Sylvia Plath. They dubbed Sylvia Plath as the queen of confessional poetry. So confessional, since there are aspects in my writing that you may not think of including because it's too private or because it's nobody's business, or basically because it might put you at risk of exposing your dirty linens in public. But this makes it different from others. But despite that, my confessional essays don't bother me. If someone should feel bothered about my essays, it should be the people and the institutions I write about who are mostly hell-bent in concealing the truth. So I would say my style is confessional. And yes, I also love the bell jar.
Yeah, I love that. That was like a mind opener for me. More about that later. And yeah, so Jarod, what about you?
Okay, sorry, my mic wasn't working. Okay, so maybe it's time from my side. So as a journalist from high school, I have written about a lot of things from the war on drugs to sports coverage to features writing, everything under the sun. But when I was just starting out, I mostly wrote poetry just for myself, and I'd perform them live for the entire school. Typically, they'd be about love when I was young. Other times, it would be about a personal aspect of my life. But as I grew older and my worldview developed, I found myself writing more about politics and global issues. I think it's because the line between my personal life and politics is blurred. So, one seeps into the other and both of them just mix, which I feel very strongly and passionate about, and combined with a lot of, teenage passion, uh,
The
tend
angst.
to come off very strongly, a lot of angst. So in terms of writing style, I think I differ from other essayists because of my poetry background. Um, I just noticed this recently, actually, when I was looking at this question. I mean, I tend to use repetition and rhythm in my essays, making them sound like speeches at times.
Mhm.
So I guess it's kind of because of when I started out writing poetry.
Yeah. And I don't know if you guys would agree that when you read a piece out loud, like it's so much pressure to make it sound like music. Like even like one word that doesn't just jive with the whole sentence, you're gonna have to change it. Do you ever go through that?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like when editing, I tend to think about how the sentence kind of just comes off of the mouth, right? So pag parang minsan may hindi siya tama, ganun. Like hindi tama yung sound niya, so kailangan mo lang baguhin.
Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm so glad I'm not alone, and I can see Philippe and Mong nodding. But yeah. So Mong, what about you? I've read all your works. I've had a glimpse of one of your books. So I'm interested. If you were to describe your own writing style, what makes it unique?
Well, una gusto kong i-acknowledge yung mga writers natin, si Philippe at Jarod. Ang mabata pa pala nila, 22 lang sata si Philippe. Tapos nabanggit ni Jarod, high school writer siya ng War on Drugs. Eh my God. Ng War on Drugs, may anak na ata akong high school, no? Anyway, always, or kadalasan, from an activist point of view, ang aking mga sinusulat. At kasi halimbawa, pag gagawa kami ng mga placards or banners, ang target mo doon, maunawaan ng lahat ng mga dumadaan lang sa jeep, naglalakad, makikita sa TV. So kailangan yung mensahe mo sa mabilis na oras, maintindihan kagad. No? Parang hashtag lang, parang ganoon din naman yung mga placards, di ba? So sa pagsulat, meron din ako sigurong nadala na ganoong habit na pamamaraan para madaling maunawaan ng lahat. Yung isa pa, minsan nagsusulat ako na ang target kong audience hindi mga Pilipino, kundi the international community, no? Para maintindihan nila yung context natin. Tapos syempre dahil ang naniniwala ako na activism, yung radical politics, hindi yan mainstream, hindi yan naunawaan ng marami, kaya nag-i-inject ako din ng mga personal na parang angle. Not merely to humanize activists, but to remind people, no, that yung pagsusulat tungkol sa aktivismo, tungkol sa social issues ay pwede rin maunawaan ng karaniwang tao at nararamdaman ng karaniwang tao.
Yes, actually yun yung pinaka-kinakatakutan ko, yung magsulat about politics. Kasi hindi siya minsan na-interpret ng tama, unlike objective topics siguro like science or anything technical. Yung politics sometimes it's very easy to just slip from one side to the other. So kudos to you po, Mong, for really just putting yourself out there. Idol ka namin. We hope to be like you in the future. At least I do. Ayun. And next question is really about your personal experience as a writer, or I would say your taste. What was that one piece or one book? While I understand it might not be the same for all, na siguro gradual yung ano nyo, pag-open ng eyes as a writer. But if there was like one specific book or essay or any specific writing that opened your eyes na, oh, this is what's writing about, na parang you had to unlearn other things that you've learned siguro in elementary or high school that really change your perspective about writing, siguro its power, its purpose. What was that piece? Yeah, it's a hard question. So yeah, I'm gonna give you guys time to think. And yeah, I think to share in siguro, I'll give you guys time to think. I can also talk to you about what that piece was for me. And really more than anything, it was Joan Didion's piece on called On Self-Respect, Its Source, Its Power. So it's a long essay published by Vogue, and doon talaga nag-iba yung pananaw ko when it came to writing, because I thought that when you wrote, it wasn't supposed to be very personal, especially when you wrote about a topic that was general, which is self-respect. And at the time, I just did not expect to see so much self-deprecation or parang just so much candor and shamelessness, parang hashtag walang hiya, but in a good taste, which I like because I never read something like that made me, instead of hate or kind of like shun her parang confessions, it made me gravitate towards her. Ayun, so parang she confessed na she failed multiple classes, and like as like a 17-year-old when I read that, I was like, failing class is not a good thing. But when I read her saying that, I was drawn to her, and I think it was something about the way she wrote it and she structured her piece. So definitely Joan did yun, kasi nga sabi ko kanina sa Truth na I really love anything she writes. Joan Didion was really the one that opened my eyes to what really personal essay or writing in general could be. Ayun. Sorry, thanks for listening to my TED Talk. Kayo dapat yung guest, so ako na yung sobrang napakwento. So if you guys want to take the stage, go ahead. I'd love to hear your stories.
Sige, ako na muna. Leia, may mga libro ako ni Joan Didion. No? Kunin ko yung address mamaya. Send ko sa yung...
Sige, mag-exchange books tayo.
Sige. Ako ang paborito kong writer is Iris Murdoch. She is a novelist. She is also a philosopher. Nagsimula ako sa libro niya, The Black Prince. Talagang namangha ako sa style niya kasi novel, tapos nag-infuse siya ng philosophical niya, pagtingin. Tapos yung narration niya hanggang dulo talagang ma-hook ka as reader. Tapos yung mga topics niya ay talagang malalim, pero at the same time mula sa karaniwang ginagawa ng mga tao, no, sa British society. So and I think after that talagang naging sunod-sunod na yung mga binasa kong libro niya. Siyempre, pagdating sa politika, hindi yata kami magkatugma sa kanyang paniniwala. Pero pwede naman gano'n, di ba? Kahit yung writer ay alam mo yung kanyang political view, parang kung hindi reactionaryo ay hindi progressive. Pero at the same time, you appreciate yung no, yung kanyang pamamaraan ng pagsulat to deliver the message. Pwede ka makakuha ng style eh. Saka idea kung paano mag-inject ng idea, ng malalim, mabigat na idea sa isang form na popular.
Wow. Very well said. Actually, while you were talking about the book po, I Googled it, and also the writer. And ayun, it's very inspiring na he was actually writing pa dati, early 1900s. and yet the words or the
No, hindi
books are
1900s. 1954 siya nagsulat hanggang early 2000.
Oh, kasi
Yeah,
nakasulat dito. I might have the wrong Iris Murdoch. I don't know. But nakasulat dito
kakaiba yan.
1919.
No.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, born on 1919 but died
Yeah.
1999. So probably this is the same one.
Yeah.
Yes, very interesting. I will check out all these books under the book section na sinulat niya. What about Philippe and Jarod? Thanks, by the way, Mong.
So for me, somehow similar din kay Mong, yung piece talaga na nag-enlighten sa akin is yung Heart and Liver ni Resin Mojares. We read and discussed it in one of my literature classes back in senior high school, and namangha ako sa style of writing niya, because Resin Mojares, apart from being a writer, is also a historian. So isa din siya sa mga naging reasons ko why I took history as a second major ngayon in college. So namangha ako sa style niya because he was able to integrate the literary and also history in Heart and Liver. He was able to explain bakit heart yung naging symbol ng love for many of us and not the liver. And then he explained in detail yung history na before liver yung symbol of love, yung seat of love for many of us. So he was able to discuss that and a piece of Philippine history as well. And that became my inspiration in writing my latest essay entitled Maranhig. So Maranhig is West Visayan folkloric creature like the zombie of the West. So I wrote Maranhig side by side, Bongbong Marcos, and that piece was published in the first or the inaugural issue of San Telmo. So San Telmo is the unofficial literary folio of the pink movement, they call it. So ayun.
Yeah, I actually just look up the writers that you mentioned, and I saw here sa essay as a book. Yeah, I think it's an excerpt of the book Heart and Liver, and the first line is, "How did you come to pass? How did it come to pass that we should love with our hearts instead of our liver?" So such a strong opener there. So I understand totally why. And thank you. And yeah, Philippe, Jarod, by the way.
Okay, so for me, siguro yung writer na recently nag-impact sa style ko would be Ernest Hemingway. The father of modern prose. Tinatawag nga nila. Dahil kasi when I was starting out, nung teenager pa lang ako, I was just in love with purple prose. I mean, yun yung number one pitfall ng mga bagong writers. Yung parang flowery words, yung verbosity. Yeah, as in, I'm too ashamed to share all of my old writings now, pero they're just like that. And you could not understand, you could not decipher the message simply because I just liked how they sounded. Diba? Yun nga yung nakikita ko sa mga, common with new writers is that they also fall in love with that kind of writing. Yun nga, pero yung binasa ko si Ernest Hemingway, yung piece niya na Hills Like White Elephants, it's a short story. And makikita mo parang walang special sa writing niya, parang sobrang simple naman. Pero yun nga yung parang innovated doon kasi all the writers that came before him, classics, all of them were verbose. Pero Ernest Hemingway redefined writing by making it simple but making it effective. And with his short descriptions, short statements, it all fell into place. It all falls into place. It all makes sense. And most of all, it's just when you read closely enough, you can see, you can understand what he's trying to say, and it's just beautiful. In terms of essay writing, so in terms of maybe speeches or persuasive essays. Martin Luther King's "I Had a Dream" speech was also impactful for me. As in his use of rhetoric, yung repetition, really ang galing. So I actually perform ko yung piece na yon for like a project in junior high school. And ever since, parang nag-stick talaga sa akin hanggang ngayon yung I have a dream, I have a dream, parang
Mhm.
and just it's influenced my style to this day. So
Mhm.
yun yun.
Yeah. And I just, guys, feel free to also comment on this. But my side comment is that I love Ernest Hemingway. I think he did redefine what writing was. Like, it's super simple. I remember reading The Old Man and the Sea in one sitting, like really quickly, because it was so understandable, and yet the meaning towards the end is so deep. So yeah, it's very metaphorical. And also I think it's interesting that you mentioned speeches, because I think they're the most poetic, if I'm not mistaken, especially if you're an activist, siguro Mong, you might relate to this. You have to catch talaga the audience and make them feel something. So that's so much pressure, especially if the piece is gonna be spoken out loud. So I super resonate with that. And yeah, for this third question, you might have to look around your place, especially if you don't have this on your phone or your notes. But for this third question, can you share a specific excerpt? It could be a sentence or a whole paragraph of your favorite lines from a piece of writing. It could be yeah, kahit phrase and the writer, if you could share. Like, just if you could remember it, it's okay, you don't have to say it verbatim, but if you could look it up online, or if you have like a copy of that written, scribbled somewhere near you, yeah, would you want to read it out loud and share why that's something that you always look back to as a writer? Sorry, parang naging classroom na to. Like a mini class session. And I'm giving you guys a task to look for your favorite writing, but yeah, I think it's worth it. Because I actually have this one here. I'm sorry, I have the edge because I'm the moderator, so I can go first if you want. You can take time to look for it. And there's this line that I super love by Elizabeth Gilbert, which she wrote in her book, The Year of Magical Thinking, I think. Oh no, John did you wrote that? But I know Elizabeth Gilbert did write something about this, and she wrote rather, "This is what I want to do, and I'm willing to be a diner waitress and a bartender, or somebody who sells jewels in the market. I'm willing to not have fancy things. I'm willing to give up vacations with my friends to stay home and write. I'm willing to give up everything for this because this is my source of light." Ayun. That's it.
Okay. Sige, ako na muna.
Go Mong.
Ang paborito kong writer sa Pilipinas ay si Lazaro Francisco. Isang national artist natin, Filipino novelist. Mga tema niya tungkol sa land dispute, mga social issues ang tema madalas niya. So, meron, kung naalala nyo, noong after election, may viral quote, diba? Ang quote, "Pang ikaw ay namulat, hindi na muling pipikit."
Pipikit.
May mas kompletong quote doon at mula ito kay Lazaro Francisco sa kanyang nobelang Maganda Pa Ang Daigdig. In fact, itong nilagay ko sa aking yearbook sa Congress. Nung 14th Congress, katerm ko si Bongbong Marcos, itong sinulat ko na mula sa quote kay Lazaro Francisco sa kanyang nobelang Maganda Pa Ang Daigdig. "Ang mga matang dilat na at nakakita ng liwanag, maging sino man ang nagdilat, ay hindi na maaaring piringan o ipikit na muli nang hindi maghihimagsik." Yan ang aking sinasabi sa mga PowerPoint, sa mga webinar ko at kapag kausap ko mga bata, mga estudyante.
Yes. And I think mas mas powerful. Kasi yung una parang okay lang, hindi mo pipikit. Pero yung second sinabi mo, talagang may parang call to action, maghimagsik. So, Thank you for sharing, Mong. Naku, mapapa-ano naman ako, mapapa-Filipino ako kasi parang kapag si Mong yung kausap ko talagang he unleashes my inner, ano talaga, Filipino trying hard. Ayun, so what about Philippe and Jarod?
So for me, I would have to go back to Sylvia Plath. So this uh, famous poem of her titled Daddy. So I read this also in my literature class back in senior high school. So I love this one line. Sinabi niya, Daddy, I have had to kill you. But of course, figurative ito. I resonate so much with this line and the entire poem actually because I also have an estranged father. And in the poem, Plath described his father as a fascist, and so do I. So do I. And that became my motivation in writing one of my essays that was published in Rappler entitled A Mother in the Midst of Tyranny. So I discussed in detail the domestic turbulence, the domestic violence that we experienced from the hands of my father back when I was growing up. And I integrated in the essay not only my personal experiences, but also the tyranny that we were under during the Duterte's term. So, A Mother in the Midst of Tyranny, that was the title, but deep down, it was the motherland, again, motherland in the midst of tyranny. So, parang ganun. So, ayun. Daddy by Sylvia Plath.
Okay, so siguro ako na, I couldn't flip through all of, or like some of the books that I have because I have a few favorite quotes pero di ko sila malala ngayon. Pero yung isang quote na nag-first come to mind para sa akin ay actually hindi galing sa writer, pero galing sa painter, si Vincent van Gogh. Yung quote niya na, if you hear a voice within you say you cannot paint, then by all means paint, and that voice will be silenced. And whenever I think of that quote, it just sort of it helps me to write. Actually, it applies in all forms of art, no? Kasi madalas na, especially for young writers or maybe even anybody, any writer, any artist experiences this kind of roadblock or this mental block that tells them, oh, just don't write, maybe tomorrow, maybe someday, maybe wait for the muse that'll come along to inspire you to put that pen and make some words happen, right? Honestly, writing happens because you write. And I have to keep reminding myself of that till now. And Vincent van Gogh, I guess, helps remind me of that as well. And yeah, it helps to get through a lot of roadblocks talaga in terms of writing kasi hanggang ngayon, marami pa rin akong self-doubt. And that's what really keeps me from the writer's table. So, yeah.
Well said and very inspirational then. Thanks, Jarod. And yeah, for the next question, you guys have the opportunity to ask the question which everyone will answer. So we have our last three questions, and then ayon, I think we'll wrap up this session already. So you guys, who wants to ask a question first? And then everyone has to answer. Could be related to writing or not. Anything siguro that just jives with what we've talked about so far.
Okay, siguro ako rin magtatanong sa dalawa nating batang manunulat. Ano ang parang hinahanda nyo or iniisip nyo or sinusulat nyo na it could be a small or big writing project na mahalaga sa inyo? Siguro patikim lang, patikim sa mga readers nyo. Sa amin.
Teaser.
Okay, siguro ako muna yung mauuna. So, for me, I'm planning to write another essay in anticipation sa 50th anniversary ng martial law, because last year I was able to publish an essay entitled Confessions of a Marcos Apologist in Rappler, and the essay actually gained traction, and it was the most reacted to and shared essay new school piece by Rappler last year. So I'm planning to do that again in anticipation of the 50th anniversary of martial law. And of course, because it's very timely ngayon, kasi nga we're under another Marcos administration. So that's it.
Okay. So for me naman, actually, sa ngayon, wala pa akong prepare or nakahanda na bagong piece. Kasi ever since talaga nung na-publish yung essay ko sa Youngblood dahil sa pandemic, it sort of kind of stifled that process a bit. Pero in terms of essays, none yet, or any performance pieces, wala. Pero in terms of journalism or articles, I'm kind of looking into writing about artificial intelligence, digital literacy, kasi I'm a computer science major, and parang sort of advocacy ko rin kasi yung digital literacy, especially in the Philippines. Lalo na kung paano parang dinidestabilize ng like technological companies with AI and with the new technologies evolving, paano nila dinidestabilize yung democracies of third world countries or developing nations like us. So yeah, yun yung plan ko i-publish soon enough. Hopefully you guys will see it somewhere.
Yeah. MIT Tech Review for the win, or you got it, Jarod.
Hopefully.
I'm definitely gonna reshare your article because technical pieces need a lot of research. So kudos to you.
Yun talaga yung difference. Pero honestly, it's like I want to get back into political pieces again. Like Philippe, honestly, I admire his work so much. Yeah.
Yeah, very brave. Naku, siguro ko yung may pinakamababaw na sagot. Although hindi nga ako tinanong kasi sabi ni Mong 2 writers lang. Pero ako talaga, I'm gonna just share. Yeah, so we recently wrapped up our writing workshop, and we've been encouraging our writers to submit to like big publications internationally, like the New York Times or Sun Magazine. So either of those two. And I'm really trying to write like a 1,500-word essay about a love story, which is personal, obviously, but still unclear as to with whom. Like, okay, let's not dig into that. But ayun, I also got recently published on Chicken Soup for the Soul. Ayan, Jarod, kuntuhan sesh later. But Chicken Soup for the Soul, and I'd love to get your addresses, guys, because I'd love to send like a copy to each of you. Kaya yun yung sabi ko, Mong, let's exchange address. Ayan, mag-book exchange tayo. Simulat tayo ng book club. Monthly book club.
Oo, kasi meron ako mga libro din ni Resel Mijares para kay Philippe, tapos si Ernest Hemingway para kay Jarod.
Ang galing. Actually, yun ako, yung mga pinamimigay ko mga libro, especially for gifts like birthdays or anything. Yeah, the sweetest gifts talaga for me are books. Tapos especially pag may mga dedicts and may mga annotations, yun. Okay, thank you, Mong. I'm definitely gonna ask for your addresses later and send over stuff. And yeah, what about you, Philippe and Jarod? What are your questions for us?
So for me, how do you overcome, your writer's block?
Pwede pa ulit yung tanong? Hindi ko na masyadong narinig.
How do you overcome your writer's block?
So siguro ako muna, since sorry, was I muted? Okay, siguro ako muna. Yung writer's block kasi, one thing I found that could be useful is to just write anything. Kahit na kung anong useless sentence man, like i-write down ko lang, kahit irrelevant, hanggang parang mahanap ko yung main idea na gusto kong i-convey. So, ayun, honestly, just general advice lang to break through writer's block. Just write until something comes to you, and then you develop that idea, and then edit it later, and then bam, you have a write up, diba? Yun lang.
Sige. For me, ako muna, Leia.
Yeah, sorry.
Ako siguro, pag talaga nahihirapan akong sulat, kasi pinakamahirap para sa akin yung first sentence, first paragraph eh. Minsan nga tumatagal din ako sa title eh. Talagang umaalis muna ako sa desk ko, gumagawa ako ng household chores, at kinakausap ko yung mga anak ko or pamilya ko. And then indirectly or part ng sinusulat ko, sinasound off ko sa kanila. Baka may makuha akong ideas pakipag-usap sa kanila. At kapag talagang wala ako sa tingin ko hindi ko kaya isulat, talagang tinutulog ko na lang tapos kaya may ginagawa ako sa labas. Ganon.
Ayun, so take your time off writing muna. Gets. Ako naman, unpopular opinion, pero instead of writing, I read. So I have this black notebook. Ito yung lahat ng nasa loob nito, like, are my favorite, like, lines from books or essays or everything. And I go through this legit, matatapos ko to in like, 30 minutes or less. Kasi it's a pretty thin notebook. And then after that, I just feel inspired to write for some reason. So ayan guys, if you guys want to have a hack that hopefully could help you, I think it's worth trying this one. Like, siguro keep a notebook of all your favorite excerpts from what you've read. And yeah, visit them kung medyo you feel uninspired. Ayun.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea. I do that too. Minsan pag may nababasa ako, this sounds good. I just put it down.
Yeah.
Tapos inspired na ako.
Ayun, sabi ko talaga, ka siya, twin ko si Jarod dati pa. I keep on saying, just kidding. But yeah, Jarod, what's your question for everyone?
Okay, so my question for everyone, since lahat naman tayo political writers dito, do you feel any fear or anxiety when writing a political piece that you know will be somewhat maybe divisive or somewhat will be strongly opinionated? And if so, how do you overcome it?
So sige, ako na lang muna mauuna. So for me, I think I don't usually feel scared. I feel excited actually, especially when my political essays agitate or make my subjects uncomfortable. I once wrote about my experience being a member of a particular church here in the Philippines. And after it got published, messages came in from the minister, from people inside the church, calling me out because why, sabi nila, bakit daw kailangan ko pang magsulat about it and publish it, when in fact I was just writing about my bad experiences inside the church, and I was basically writing about the truth. So more than feeling scared, I feel excited about writing political essays.
Okay, sige. Thank you, Philippe, for that. Sa akin siguro baliktad eh. Mas natatakot ako kapag ang isulat ko hindi political eh.
Oh yeah.
Kasi nga, activist ako, yung political talaga writings ko. Minsan sinubukan ko magsulat tungkol travel, and then I quoted Immanuel Kant. And many of my friends reacted strongly to that. So, kumbaga, mas ang kinakatakot ko, paano kapag masyadong personal ang sinulat ko, di ba? Siguro that's one reason kung bakit hanggang ngayon, non-fiction yung sinusulat ko. Siguro, in the next few years, I'll try also to write fiction para naman na maiba, di ba? Talagang gusto ko din naman subukan yung ibang pamamaraan eh. Pero kung sa mga writers na tungkol sa kanilang sinusulat na maaaring maging polarizing, divisive, napakahalaga na meron kang support network. And the support network could be your immediate family, your friends, your group, na maaaring magbigay sa'yo ng solidarity or immediate support, lalo na sa panahon ngayon, ang context natin, napaka-intolerant ng mga nasa kapangyarihan sa contrary views. So you need this support para sa iyo, no? Para hindi ka rin ma-censor, hindi ka mag-self-censor din. That's one way to overcome yung fear.
Yeah, and I guess lastly, I think I resonate with Mong. Na for me, it's more scarier not to do it than to do it. Kasi I guess Mong siguro talagang ano lang tayo, gutsy risk takers. But also with a purpose. Siguro I remember writing my first essay. It was called Road Warrior, and isang paragraph, it was cut off, and it was like the meat of the essay by PDI. So I think, sorry PDI, but I think they do censor super political things sometimes, or at least tone it down a bit. Kasi there's that ano pa rin with living in the Philippines siguro, that there's that taboo, especially when you're young, you don't know anything. Why do you want to write about such a serious, mature topic? Ayun, so for me, really, I'm not afraid of doing it siguro. I'm just probably Hmong, we're a different kind of breed, but yeah, that's me. And yeah, we ended right on time. It's almost 1 minute to 11. And yeah, since we just asked for your time here from 10 to 11, we just wanna thank you again for your insightful responses, Mong, Jarod, and Philippe. I definitely learned a lot from you. And siguro just to chill, because we've had a very deep talk, at least for me. Let's move on to our amazing guest ambassador and our indie coast performer, Nicole Esplana. So Nicole is a 25-year-old freelance actress and model, and she is a recording artist from Mind Music and an aerial performer from Elite Aerial Arts. She's also a university professor with a passion for arts. Take it away, Nicole.
Summer after high school when we first met, we'd make out in your Mustang to Radiohead. And on my 18th birthday we got matching tattoos. You used to smell your parents' liquor and climb to the roof, talk about a future like we had a clue. Never planned that one day I'd be losing you. In another life, I would be your girl. We'd keep all our promises, be us against the world. In another life, I will make you stay, so I don't have to say you were the one that got away.
thank you, Nicole, for that pre-recorded performance. And thank you once again, everyone, for joining us today. I'd like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the Independent Collective team who's been the cornerstone of this event and without whom we wouldn't be here. Thank you as well to our wonderful guest panelists, Mong, Jarod, and Philippe, our talented guest performer, and of course, our partners and sponsors for making this event possible. Thank you, everyone, once again for joining us this event. Don't forget to submit your essay for our anthology, as tomorrow is the deadline of the submission at 11:59 p.m. Have a great rest of the weekend. Happy Saturday. And once again, this is Leah